What's up everyone, it's Redgrave here, and today we're going to be talking about Exoprimal. I was fortunate enough to get access to the closed network tests that are taking place throughout the next few weeks, with the first one happening just a couple days ago. It was a lot of fun and I'm really looking forward to the upcoming tests, but today I wanted to give you all my first impressions on what I thought about the beta as a whole and what I'd like to see going forward. So first off, I was really surprised by how well this first test went for myself in terms of getting into the servers, as well as stability and performance. While I have a pretty decent PC that allows me to stream, edit, and play games, I wouldn't say it isn't filled with the most cutting-edge technology, so I was a bit nervous that streaming the game at 1080p HD quality with 60 FPS while also running an application that spawns thousands of enemy AI at once would bring some issues. However, I'm happy to report that the only issues I experienced were frame drops both in the game itself and on my stream. The frame drops in-game were more frequent than my drops on the stream, which was to be expected. Talking with some other folks who played the beta, they were telling me they weren't experiencing any drops whatsoever, so your mileage on the performance may vary depending on your PC/streaming setup. The next point is going to go here since we'll be moving on to the gameplay segment of my thoughts in just a second, but this also correlates with the performance aspect of the game. While I didn't have any performance issues past that, numerous people were experiencing crashes and errors that would likely cause them to leave the game before the start of the match, if they were even to get into the game at all. This caused uneven team matches on numerous cases, and I couldn't help but be a bit soured by it on the receiving end, having only 3-man squads against a full team of 5. While I obviously don't have any ill will on this issue since it was the first beta, it was a notable standout when it came to my overall enjoyment. Moving on to the actual gameplay, I really enjoyed my time in matches. For those who don't know, Exoprimal is essentially a team-based PvP and PvE multiplayer game where you and your teammates are tasked to complete objectives faster than your opposing team. These objectives mainly consist of killing hordes of dinosaurs of various sizes and types. At the finale of the match, the two teams will directly fight each other, competing in various objectives in order to cross the finish line and win the game, whether that's escorting a payload or collecting energy cartridges to win the game. There will also be points where the two teams combine to fight a giant mutated exoprimal dinosaur that is insanely tough to beat. While there will be more game modes to choose from in the future, this is the main mode of Exoprimal and I really enjoyed it. There isn't much else I can say about it. I think it's an interesting and fun concept where you get to group up to fight hordes of dinosaurs and compete with an enemy team, and occasionally team up. I stuck to Zephyr at the beginning mainly because of his speedy, melee-focused, Devil May Cry-esque style of fighting, but as the night went on, I found myself actively switching and adapting to all the different classes and exosuits the beta had to offer. Each of them felt comfortable to pick up and play without much extra thought on how to figure out how they work. The action is extremely addicting and the pacing of the matches themselves is consistent and doesn't drag, with an average match lasting somewhere between 10 to 15 minutes and 20 on the long side. While Zephyr is still my favorite exosuit, I found myself gravitating towards Roadblock the tank more than I thought I would initially. Out of all the exosuits, I'd say my least favorite to play was Deadeye. His playstyle wasn't as engaging as the others, and his default method of dealing damage with his assault rifle felt weak in comparison. Even his ultimate ability felt underwhelming when it came to damage output on dinosaurs, as well as his other abilities. I feel like a sniper would be able to outclass him instantly, and what I would want to do in the next beta is experiment around with him by using him exclusively on enemy players to see how his damage output fares on them in comparison to the dinosaurs. Speaking of the dinosaurs, I thought it would be a slaughterhouse cutting loose and easily killing these things, but they're actually pretty tough. Large hordes of small dinosaurs will be doing constant damage to you even if you're outputting damage back to them, which is why collaborating with your teammates and knowing your place is the key to victory. The unique designs for all the different dinosaurs keeps you on your toes, like the exploders and sniper dinosaurs, and each have a unique strategy to be taken down effectively. For example, Witchdoctor's stun attack can get the flying dinos out of the air for your teammates to pummel, and Zephyr's linear strike ability will one-shot the exploders. And the massive boss dinos do crazy damage to you, to the point where I was nearly one-shot multiple times. Which brings us to our next topic, team comp. Team comp is very important in this game. Just like any team-based shooter, you need to have the right comp for the right situation, otherwise you're gonna get screwed. You can change your exosuit on the fly so you can adapt to any situation, so you just can't expect to do well if people on your team are being uncooperative and not switching because you just don't want to. I had a match where we had 4 assault classes for a vast majority of the match, and I was the tank, and we got our asses handed to us when we didn't have a designated healer. I found that for the most part, the best team comp is 3 assaults, 1 tank, and 1 healer, occasionally switching it up to 2 tanks by tanking out an assault. For the 10-man team-up battles, 2 healers and 2 tanks minimum are necessary. I think that when both teams provide the proper team comp for their scenario, it could really go either way, as most of my matches were neck and neck the entire time, which is a great relief when it comes to balancing. Going forward, the things I'm looking forward to seeing in Exoprimal are how the other characters are going to play and how that affects team composition going forward. I'm also assuming that battle passes and cosmetics are going to be a big factor into how this game is going to be monetized post-launch, as there's already prompts for various emote types. One suggestion I would like to make for Capcom going forward is potentially separating the PvE and PvP aspects into their own separate game modes, so those who prefer the player versus enemy type of horde mode dinosaur fighting exclusively stick to that category, while players interested in the player versus player aspect of it can stick to experimentation and fighting an opposing team. I'm not saying separate them entirely and indefinitely, but just having separate categories that you can choose from every once in a while, I think would be a nice option. Overall, I'm very satisfied with this first round of closed beta testing, and I'm really looking forward to playing it again in a few weeks. Hopefully getting a full squad together to see what that feels like instead of sticking exclusively to solo queue. And if you want to keep updated on the latest videos, make sure you hit the subscribe button or follow me on Twitch to watch me live. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all soon.